there, Michelle here from the Athlete Center. I'm going to introduce the hip hinge. Now we're going to use a dowel for a feedback mechanism, and then later on you'll be able to obviously do it without. First though, what we're going to talk about is our foot placement. So what we want is our feet to be relatively under our hips. We can be slightly wider if you want, but not in a squat position necessarily. Toes are facing forward, and then we want to make sure that we've got equal distribution of weight left and right, so you're not leaning over to one side than the other. Then finally, we want to focus on each foot and make sure that we are having a nice tripod foot, meaning that we are having equal distribution between the big knuckle of the big toe, the knuckle of the baby toe, and the heel, so that we're not weight bearing on the outsides of our foot or collapsing in or leaning forward on our toes or back on our heels. Through the range of motion of this exercise, it will be a great feedback mechanism to see if your toes are gripping because you're leaning forward, or if you're going too far back and your toes are lifting. So create that nice tripod foot. So second, we're going to take our broomstick or our dowel and place it behind our backs. Where we want it is to touch our head, back of our head, in between our shoulder blades, and in the small of our back, like so. So this is going to be a nice feedback mechanism for our torso position and our head and neck position as we go through the range of motion. It keeps neutrality right now. So when we're learning these movements and if we're loading, we like to have a nice optimal spinal alignment. So let's get our feet right under our hips, find that tripod foot, find the positioning of the dowel. Slight bend in the knees, and what you're going to do is I want you to send your bum back first. So you're not going to tip forward, so you're leaning onto those toes and they're gripping. I want you to think about sending that bum back and leaning forward while maintaining contact with the dowel on all 3 points. So we'll do that again. Send the bum back, so you've got a slight knee bend, and then come on up. Now if I tip forward, like I said, my legs, my knees will go into extension and my toes will be gripping to try not to let me fall over. We don't want that. Or if I go too far back and lean back, then my toes will come up and I'm off balance. So maintaining that tripod foot is great feedback. Now, if I look up as I go down, the dowel will come off of in between my shoulder blades, and we don't want that, and I'll come into probably more lumbar extension. If I round my back as I go down, then the dowel is going to lift off of the small of my back. So this will keep you honest. It'll be a nice feedback to make sure that you have a nice neutral spine and that you're going, that you have a good hip hinge without leaning too far back or too far forward.